What's up, everyone? This is Midnight Strike 3625, and you are watching another classic review. So today we're going to take a look at another video game known as Pitfall for the Atari Video Computer System, otherwise known as the Atari 2600. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I've only reviewed a handful of these games, and that's particularly because the 2600 itself never really piqued my interest. I always kind of viewed it as a back burner, second-rate system next to the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was released almost 10 years later. So this system, though, did have its time, it did have its place. Even though it was pretty much a dumping ground for shovelware, so was the Nintendo Entertainment System. So yeah, I guess I can do a little bit of damage control on one of my least favorite systems, the Atari 2600, that I know of. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of a history thing on it later. But for now, we're going to be reviewing Pitfall. The game stars you as a guy traveling through a jungle filled with hazards, filled with things that want to kill you, and you have to do various things like jump over random barrels that are coming at you, swing on vines over giant death traps, and find these little brick things with arrows pointing to them that you're apparently supposed to collect. So I'm sure there's a story. I didn't read the instruction manual. I'm going to leave a link to virtualatari.org, like I do for all my 2600 games, in case you want to play the Atari 2600 game itself. There is actually a version of it on ColecoVision as well, but for now, we're going to take just a brief look at the Atari 2600 version. So overall, the presentation is nice. It's very simplistic. You got your, Atari 2600 distorted beeps and bops and all that crap. The only noise that it can really make doesn't really have a lot to it. It sounds more like R2-D2 is trying to send you a message on Atari 2600 versus any sort of semblance of musical scores like you find on the rich 8-bit nature of the Nintendo Entertainment System. But hey, you know what? System limitations. It was a lot worse before that. What can I say? The overall presentation of it, like I said, is very nice. The colors are very simplistic, but for the time it was released, it has quite a bit of detail. The walking animation of your character is very fluid and very nice, and probably the best I've seen, actually, on Atari 2600. It's very, very impressive for the day that it was released. This game came out in 1982, so the same year as our other favorite game, E.T. Yeah, maybe I should review that for real sometime. But yeah, overall, this game is good, but you can definitely see that they've built a lot off of this. This has a number of sequels, including Super Pitfall, Pitfall 3D, Pitfall 2, which was also released on the 2600. There was a game, Pitfall 3D, I believe, and then there was another one for Game Boy Advance, but I'm kind of blanking on the title right now. But they all relatively have the same kind of gameplay. You're going through a jungle, dodging hazards, basically trying to get to the end of the game or collecting certain objects. It's not really that straightforward, this game isn't, about what you're supposed to do. And I kind of like that about this game. It's basically a game that gave birth to the side-scrolling genre, or at least, for lack of a better term, pioneered it in the way that we know it today. So it's side-scrolling through a number of screens, there's lots of collectibles, and like I said, the presentation is very nice. There's not really much more I can say about this game, given its simplicity in nature, but I will say that it's one of the better games for Atari 2600, but it does not stand up as being a timeless classic. Maybe Mario does. Mario definitely does, but the game that was released 3 years later that kind of gave birth to the format that Mario was released in, not so much. This game gets probably a 7.5, 8 out of 10 for me, just because of the fact that it didn't age very well. Even though it was very, very revolutionary for its time, it's just kind of a chore to play now, and there's really not any direction or sense of accomplishment for anything that you do. You're just kind of going through the motions. But as far as the presentation itself, it is very impressive. So it's worth checking out, it's worth playing, and it's an interesting game. So check it out. It's Pitfall. It was released in 1982 for the Nintari, yeah. Atari 2600. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Thank you very much for watching. Keep calm and rock on.